6 weeks to make the case that Detroit deserves to be picked for Amazon's $5 billion second headquarters. Go, our roundtable on how our region stacks up. Plus, what's the best way to make the pitch? Today is Sunday, September 24th, 2017, and this is Flashpoint.
Hi, welcome to Flashpoint. I'm glad you're here. Our topic for the entire program today is Amazon. When Amazon first launched as an online business, they were only a bookseller. In fact, every time the company made a sale, a bell would ring in the Amazon office to celebrate a few dollars coming in. That was the mid-90s. It took 7 years for Amazon to start making any real money, not showing a profit till 2002. But today, if we pause for just 1 second, there, in the span of that second, Amazon just filled 35 orders. It's the third largest retailer on earth, closing fast on Walmart and CVS. Amazon has changed the world as we know it. And that's why the call for bids for Amazon's second world headquarters has so many cities getting a haircut, sprucing up the front room, and brushing their teeth. This is courtship at its highest and most dynamic level. The new Amazon HQ2 brings with it the promise of 50,000 jobs. Kimberly Gill and I laughed the other day when we realized her hometown in South Carolina and mine in Kansas together don't have 50,000 people. It will revolutionize whatever city lands this enormous fish. Now, Dan Gilbert is in charge of the Detroit bid, a bid that many seem to believe was looking like a long shot. But now it is bolstered by a Canadian exacta that includes Windsor. That's an international partnership that really no other city can offer. But is that important to Amazon? What are they looking for? What will be the difference maker, and how does Detroit hope to make that difference? The Amazon chase today on Flashpoint. Yeah, no doubt about it. Amazon is a whale of a company. Which city has the bait and tackle to bring it in? Let's talk with some of those ready to throw their lines in the water. Good to have with us the president and CEO of the Detroit Regional Chamber, Sandy Barua, back with us. Tiffany Gunter is the interim CEO of the RTA, the Regional Transit Authority. Matt Cullen, the principal of Rock Ventures, and L. Brooks Patterson, of course, the Oakland County Executive. Gang, thank you all very much for being here. And I guess I'll start with you as a guy who works every day with with Dan Gilbert, who's leading this effort. I guess I want to start with the question that I posed at the beginning. What do you think Amazon is looking for? What is going to be the difference maker?
Well, it's really interesting. Everybody's trying to interpret that, right? Everybody's going through the tea leaves, calling their old friends from college. Everybody's trying to figure out, people are sending them cacti and everything else, trying to figure out what appeals to them. But I think they're looking for a exciting new environment for the headquarters. I mean, I think they're looking for a place that has a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential, and a talented university system and so on, and I think an exciting urban core. I mean, it's clear that they're looking for that kind of energy, and it's really great. I think that we're here as regional folks talking about coming together for that kind of an outcome, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they do emphasize as we go forward.
Yeah. Brooks, you've been a part of a lot of recruitment of businesses, but when I talk about 50,000 jobs, can you remember ever anything like this?
That dwarfs everything else. I mean, we get 1,000, 2,000, we're excited. 50,000 just rewrites the playbook. And then the average income with benefits over 100,000. Yeah. It's huge, and it's transformational to any city that gets it.
So what do you suppose is the difference maker? What can we, if we try and put on Amazon's glasses?
We're joining in with Gilbert on the Detroit proposal. We think we have a lot to bring to the table. We got housing, we have a quality of life in Oakland County. I think Macomb will argue the same thing. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if they want an urban core, we got some, but nothing on the scale of Detroit, of course. We got the property, we got the site. I mean, we've already submitted a few to the MEDC. The Silverdome site, that's coming down. The Palace site, that's coming down. So we're going to have some acreage, 80 to 100 acres. That's what they're looking for.
That already have access built into them because of what they were. Interesting. Tiffany, I got to point out, though, that of the first few reactions that I saw, there was a whole lot of smacking in the head of, well, when the RTA vote didn't pass, was that sending the message to everybody that we're really not in all this, in all together, and that transit is continuing to vex our, not only our daily lives, but now the message that we put out to the rest of the world?
You know, last year we did something amazing. We moved the ball so far down the field in terms of progress on regional transportation, and we saw that first-time ballot initiatives throughout the nation typically tend to fail. Ours did fail, but only failed by a margin of 1%. So seeing that says that our region actually is ready for something different. We had to have a much stronger campaign, and we had to make some tweaks to our plan, obviously, to make it better. But I do believe that the time is now. We're ripe for the picking. There's so much energy focused on the metropolitan Detroit area that seeing this opportunity and feeling this excitement, this is the opportunity we have to make it better.
Is the plan to take another bite of the apple and go back to voters again? What is the outlook right now?
So currently, our regional leaders are having a conversation about what that next step will look like. We are doing everything we can to make sure that the next step is done in the most prudent fashion possible to ensure success.
Can you get it done in 6 weeks? We're kind of on the clock here.
There's this thing called a statute that created the RTA that does not quite allow for that, but we do see an urgency, and we have a renewed sense of focus, and that's already been happening even before the Amazon announcement was made. These conversations were taking place, and we're very near to having a solution that we'll bring to the RTA boards in the next couple of months.
Sandy, I can just kind of picture word breaking out that one morning that this was coming, that this was going out almost for bids, and you maybe, I don't know, falling out of your chair, almost having a car crash wherever you were at the time as the head of the regional chamber. This is, to Brooks's point, as big as I've ever heard, right?
Yeah, this is the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes of economic development projects, right? So, you know, the minimum standard that Amazon has asked for is an MSA of 1 million people. That puts immediately on day one about 55 MSAs across this country, not even including Canada, you know, vying for this. And, you know, it's all the usual suspects, you know, the Phoenixes and the Denvers and the Washington, D.C.s of the world. But it's also a lot of unusual suspects. It's the Baltimores and it's the Oklahoma cities. It's, you know, it's cities that you don't necessarily think of that qualify for this. So everyone's going to be vying for this, and everyone's going to put their best foot forward. And as Brooks and Matt said earlier, this is a great exercise in how much progress this region has made in working collaboratively. When I look at the way Brooks and Mike Duggan and Mark Hackle and Warren Evans, you know, work together on multiple issues, including this one, we've come a long way in the last 5 or 6 years. Are we
at the level, we may not be as dysfunctional as we were, but are we at the cooperative level that we see in other metro areas that have been doing it longer than we have?
Listen, you know, as someone who has done this for a while, I look at how we're approaching this, especially with Dan's leadership and Mike's leadership. I feel really good about where we are and how we're doing this.
Matt, a lot of the things that I read because every magazine and newspaper is trying to handicap this now, referred to Detroit as a sentimental kind of choice, but one that isn't necessarily really in play once you get beyond sentiment. Does sentiment appeal to somebody like Amazon, or?
You know, I think it could. I disagree with the premise. I think we're a serious contender throughout, and I think as people look at the type of proposal we're going to put forward on a collective basis, they're going to be blown away. So I think we are competitive throughout, but I do think sentiment matters. Not sentiment necessarily, but I mean the opportunity. If you think if you're an Amazon headquarters, and I kind of put myself in a role because I was at General Motors for a long time when we were doing similar kinds of projects. The opportunity to come into a community and really make a profound difference, I think, is compelling. I mean, when I look at our team members, you know, 17,000 strong in Detroit now, they're as equally motivated about the opportunity to be a part of Detroit and a part of the resurgence of a great American city as they are being involved with our companies, right? And so, you know, I think so. I think, you know, there's no hotter story nationally, internationally than Detroit right now. And yet it's still sort of at a level that you can come in where there's still plenty of scale available to you, right? There's plenty of property available, there's buildings available, you can shape it in a way and you can make a difference. I think that's a different proposition than if you land in New York or in Washington or something else. So I think it does matter.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, just on Matt's point, we have to understand that the Amazon RFP is their wish list, right? So depending on how you do the analysis, and again, Matt and I can do the the analysis, but at the end of the day, Amazon's going to do the analysis, determines who comes out on top. I've seen Philadelphia on the top of a list. I've seen Dallas on the top of a list. I've seen Denver on the top of a list. I've seen Washington, D.C. on the top of a list. Every city is going to have their positives and their negatives. And it's on balance. How quickly can we come together with the right proposal? And again, we're very much on the right track there. And at the end of the day, what does Amazon really want? And, you know, as Matt said, we don't know exactly for sure, but we feel really good about where we are. So if you just look at Detroit versus the RFP, you can pick out any individual thing, transit or this or that. Other places have problems with cost of housing. Other places have problems with traffic congestion. Other places have problems with airport capacity. I mean, we've got tremendous positives in addition to a couple of negatives, but we can address the negatives.
Brooks, yeah. if we're looking at our warts, what's our Achilles heel?
Well, I think some people think it's transportation. But we do have a suburban transportation system, smart, a suburban mobility area, rapid transit. We carry thousands of passengers on a daily basis. I'll guarantee you right now, if Amazon said we want to locate here, we'll change our routes. That's the flexibility of rapid transit by bus. We can make it right in the center of our routes. So they'll be covered. They'll be able to get people
then what is our stumbling block if you had to frame one?
Well, I guess availability of talent. I mean, my county is about 3.1% unemployed, which means I'm scrambling to find people to take jobs. I had a guy come up to me 2 weeks ago. He owns a spray painting company, and he needs a machinist. He said, "You got it, but in your file, in your workforce development." I said, "Well, look." He said, "If he has any experience, I'll start him at 120." Whoa.
Any experience. And Tiffany, we've seen this before. In fact, in our transit needs, it spells out kind of our talent problems. You got so many people in the city of Detroit who have to take transit out to a job in the suburbs, and so many people in the suburbs coming in to have their job in Detroit.
Absolutely. We're passing each other by, literally. We don't have a system that really supports those movements. And while I can appreciate the comments made by Brooks, what we look at, and we look at transit and how dynamic it is in terms of attracting new talent and retaining the talent that you have. We have all of these universities and colleges here in Southeast Michigan that are creating these intelligent, brilliant students, these engineers and professionals, and they're leaving this region to go to other places to work. And we need to be able to provide a space for them. And what they're looking for when they look at their list of needs, just like Amazon's looking at theirs, is they want access to frequent, reliable, rapid transit. And we need to be able to answer that question and present a package that includes that.
Lastly, Matt, I don't want you to, obviously, nobody would want you to lay the cards on the table, and in fact, Dan Gilbert as much said this the past week, you don't want to, but if you could, frame for me what you think is important about the bid itself. We're going to talk about that in the next segment, but how do you break through the clutter to make the impact with Amazon?
Well, I think the bid's important for 2 reasons. One, it's important locally because we're coming together as a region in a very powerful way. And even with Windsor, which we haven't really contemplated doing, and I think that's great.
That makes a difference, you think? Because when I first heard that, I was like, and then the more I thought about it, well, it'll be the only international bid, I imagine.
Well, and access to talent. I mean, there's a lot of high-tech folks over there as well, and within Canada, and the opportunity to draw from both. Yeah. So, look, I think it's we're gonna check almost every box. Even transit, I think we're gonna have the opportunity to say we will go do this if you're here, and I think we're going to be able to do that. And I think we're also going to be the comeback city, the place of opportunity where people are going to look at it and say, you know what? It's unbelievable what's taking place here, and we can be a part of that, and we can, stories and books will be written about it going forward.
Great start on the conversation. Thank you all very much. This will be the conversation for the next 6 weeks, and we'll continue it after we take this quick break. This is Flashpoint on Local 4. Welcome back. Let's continue with the bid to bring Amazon to Detroit by looking at what the proposal will have to look like. Kirk Penho, writer and reporter for Crain's Detroit Business, is here. Olga Stella, formerly of the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, now the head of the Creative Corridor, and Dennis Archer Jr. Back with us from Ignition Media. Thanks, gang, very much. Kirk, it was interesting. Crain's was pretty quick to write a piece. Your colleague, Chad Livengood, quick to throw a little bit of water on yes, it's terribly exciting, but it's going to take some sober addressing of our shortcomings, isn't it? And they are numerous.
Absolutely. As the previous panel noted, we do have a substantial deficiency when it comes to public transit in this region. There's no doubt about that. SMART and DDOT don't particularly interact well together. The queue line system is a good start, but it's a start. We've got 3.3 miles going back and forth from downtown to News Center, but everything else is really kind of disjointed. The public schools in Detroit are still struggling. I mean, there's any number of downsides to the region that are going to have to be considered when Amazon is weighing its candidates.
So then, Olga, if you're trying to make the case, do you try and paper over that? Or is it better to go in and say, here we are, warts and all? Because, for example, I'm not sure any big metropolitan area is going to be able to tout their school system with too much enthusiasm.
And all of that's obvious, right? I mean, you can't paper over the warts because people just have to come here and they can see the warts for themselves, because this isn't a one-time conversation. If we're a serious contender, they're going to be coming here over a span of a couple months.
That's a very fair point.
To really investigate what's going on, to negotiate the deal. I think it's more important to position the bid from the perspective of, where does Amazon want to be? What's their future look like? They're not just an online retailer. If we just call them an online retailer, we're selling ourselves short and we're selling them short. They're into products, right? They have the Echo line. They're into media, right? So, what could be next? Augmented reality? What else could be next? And I think we have enough assets in this region that we could position to say, you know what, we're your logistics experts, we're your process and systems experts, we have all the design talent you need to grow your business for the next 100 years. You need to be here.
Interesting. Dennis, what are your thoughts on this? Knowing you as I do, I know you don't scare easily from trying to go after a big project, but is Detroit in the mix for something like this, or are we not really ready for that yet?
A, we're ready, and B, we're in the mix. I think if you look at some of the national publications, VentureBeat, Forbes, Brookings, they handicap us in the top 5. I think it's very easy to point to individual deficiencies, but I think if you look at the region as a whole, and this is a regional play, this is not a Detroit-only play, and this might be now an international, have an international flavor to it. And I think that we have the cultural diversity they speak to. We definitely have the land available to accommodate up to 8 million square feet and 100 acres, preferably contiguous. And we have been, a century or so ago, the center point for innovation in the automobile industry. So what better place for Amazon to put their second headquarters than here? The universities in the region are outstanding. If you include Waterloo, which sends in Ontario a disproportionate amount of graduates already to Amazon to go work, and you bring all that in, it's a very attractive area.
Kirk, I really am still trying to figure out exactly what this Windsor partnership can mean. I'm not sure Detroit has ever, especially since 9/11, where it's gotten tougher to go back and forth, because people used to make the trip back and forth all the time. I'm not sure we've ever fully leveraged this enormous opportunity, other than trade. I mean, of course we do with the border crossings, but what do you think the Windsor piece means?
I think the Windsor plays more about workforce really than anything else, and frankly the mayor told my colleague Chad that earlier this week. It's really about broadening our talent pool. We do have 4.2 million people here in the region, but we do lag slightly behind in educational achievement in terms of bachelor's degrees. So the Windsor component of it helps address that.
Helps our numbers.
Yes.
Kind of, it changes the.
And you just have to look at Seattle, right? They're doing, even though Seattle isn't right on the border with Canada, there is a relationship between Seattle and Vancouver when it comes to Amazon's business. So I think we could say, you know what? Maybe your people are traveling whatever the 2 hours to Vancouver. Here they're going 10 minutes across, and hundreds of nurses cross that border every single day already.
Dennis, I think it's really interesting trying to figure out though what the culture is inside Amazon. If we could understand, that's sort of a secret sauce that if we knew what that was, what is important to Jeff Bezos? The guy goes and buys the Washington Post at a time when nobody would have thought buying a newspaper was a great idea. So trying to see through those eyes makes this a different exercise.
I think that by way of having Dan Gilbert helm this effort over the next 6 weeks,
they speak the same language?
Because they speak the same language. You've got an organization of tens of thousands of people that follow his isms. And so they've got their own culture. They've chosen to make that culture very public by publishing those books quarterly. But I think they do speak the same language, and I think a lot of the talent pool and the mentality of that talent pool and what it takes to attract employees is very similar. And I think that you're also going to be able to rally even some of those expats that were here last week to help the Detroit effort. And so if you put a lot of those brilliant minds together and hopefully a diverse, well thought out panel of team members who are going to pursue this on behalf of the region in the next 6 weeks, I handicap us to be near the top.
That Cranes event, homecoming, fair point. There is a lot of stick that comes with people like Stephen Ross,
yes.
If they want to start being an acolyte a little bit, or a disciple rather, for Detroit.
Correct, and Dennis is right. Dan Gilbert and Jeff Bezos do have the same sort of language. They're on the same plane. Dan can probably call Jeff, and vice versa, and they can communicate directly on this. But with regards to sort of the internal culture, we also have to remember that we don't have to go all that far down the road to find out what it is. They have 80,000 square feet in the 150 West Jefferson.
Right, yeah.
They know what this market is like, and frankly, I believe they expanded there recently.
That's
so that's a positive sign in our direction.
Yeah, good point. And Olga, the other thing that I wonder though about it, we are continually all trying to figure out what it is millennials want and how to, because that's going to be a lot of this workforce. And when we talk about transit, I sometimes I think maybe that's more our worry than theirs with Uber and Lyft, and they've got it figured out on their scale rather than
yes
mine.
and no. I mean, if you want to live in Royal Oak and come downtown, you're not going to Uber every single day back and forth, right?
It would still be cheaper than probably owning a car and insuring a car. And
paying for parking.
But it'd be even cheaper to get on that Woodward bus, right? And so I mean, I think we don't have to have the. I don't think we have to have the transit solution all buttoned up in the next 6 weeks. We obviously can't. But I think that if we kid ourselves that transit isn't important long term to Amazon or to any business that wants to grow, we would be kidding ourselves. My new employees, all the new people I know who have moved to Detroit, are our age, older, younger, they're biking. They're using Mogo, they're biking, they're choosing to live near where they work. So I think if we say transit doesn't really matter, we're kidding ourselves long term.
Good stuff. Gang, thanks very much for the thoughts on all this. We'll wrap things up for Flashpoint right after this. Let's wrap things up this morning by inviting you to be with us on Local 4 News later on tonight. Our Kimberly Gill traveled to New York to sit down with Megyn Kelly to talk with her about the newest chapter in the venerable Today Show's history, and that is Megyn Kelly Today, which starts tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Kimberly's conversation with her coming up later on today. Mitch Albom's Heart of Detroit coming up next, and then it's Meet the Press, and we'll see you next time for Flashpoint.